Benjamin Netanyahu is already facing an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. Now Türkiye wants to take the legal pressure even further. Ankara says it has moved to seek an Interpol Red Notice for Netanyahu, following an arrest warrant issued by a Turkish court.
In the scope of the file, in line with the arrest warrants issued on July 14, 2026, for Benjamin Netanyahu and Afek Moskovitch on the charge of genocide, a request has been made to our Ministry of Interior for the issuance of a red notice at the international level for their search, and the relevant documents have been forwarded to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Turkey's Justice Minister Akın Gürlek says arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Afek Moskovitch were issued on July 14th on a genocide charge. The case before Istanbul's 11th High Criminal Court involves 35 defendants and centers on the alleged armed intervention against activists aboard the Global Sumud Flotilla, which was attempting to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza in international waters. Türkiye says Netanyahu and Moskovitch are being prosecuted over the alleged intervention and detention of activists. The charges include crimes against humanity, genocide, aggravated deprivation of liberty, intentional injury, torture, property damage, aggravated robbery, and hijacking of transportation vehicles. And Ankara says it intends to pursue the case through national and international law. Gürlek rejects the idea that Netanyahu's government is beyond accountability and says Türkiye will continue taking steps to hold those it accuses of crimes against humanity accountable.
Benjamin Netanyahu and Afek Moskovitch are being tried on charges of crimes against humanity, genocide, deprivation of liberty of a qualified person, intentional injury, torture, damage to property, qualified plunder, and hijacking of transport vehicles in connection with the armed intervention against civilians delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza in international waters and the detention of activists. We categorically reject the notion that the Netanyahu administration, which is implementing a genocide policy in Gaza, is untouchable and unaccountable. We will not allow the crimes committed in Gaza to be covered up or the perpetrators to be shielded by impunity. We will resolutely utilize all possibilities of national and international law.
But Türkiye has requested an Interpol Red Notice. It has not said that Interpol has already issued one. A red notice is a request to locate a wanted person and seek their provisional arrest pending extradition or similar legal proceedings. It is not itself an international arrest warrant. So the immediate question is whether Türkiye's request will actually result in an Interpol Red Notice for Netanyahu. And the significance goes beyond the courtroom. Netanyahu already faces the ICC arrest warrant. Türkiye now has its own arrest warrant and is seeking to take that case into the Interpol system. If successful, the Turkish move could add another layer of international pressure and potential travel complications for the Israeli Prime Minister. And Türkiye's move against Netanyahu comes as tensions between Ankara and Jerusalem are already escalating on another front, Syria. We reported on that confrontation yesterday. Türkiye and Israel are edging toward a confrontation that could reshape the strategic balance in Syria, and the latest warning has come directly from Jerusalem. Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz took aim at Erdogan, dismissing his warnings as empty noise while making clear Israel won't be tested.
Erdogan is dragging Turkey into dangerous adventures in Syria. Israel will not allow any entity to threaten its security. It is preferable for Erdogan to continue delivering empty, delusional speeches against Israel in the Turkish parliament, rather than testing Israel's resolve to defend itself.
But this is no longer just a war of words. On August 18th, Israeli jets struck the Abu al-Duhur airbase in Syria's Idlib province, damaging its runway. Syrian officials said a Turkish military delegation had visited the facility just hours earlier. Israel says the strike was intended to prevent Turkish forces from establishing a foothold there. Netanyahu's office said Damascus had come close to breaching what Israel considers its security red line. And Netanyahu delivered a blunt message.
We will not tolerate a Turkish military entrenchment moving south because it threatens us. We conveyed that in general terms. Now, we saw that Turkey had intentions to establish a presence at an airfield south of its line near Aleppo, and we delivered a message. How would I define the message for you? Don't.
The message was delivered?
The message was delivered, but apparently they didn't hear it, so we made sure they understood it better.
Ankara rejected Israel's account and condemned the strike, while Syria called it a violation of its sovereignty. In Ankara, Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shibani demanded that Israeli forces withdraw to the lines held before December 8, 2024, invoking the 1974 disengagement agreement. He also warned that continued Israeli attacks could have wider consequences for regional security, as tensions between the United States and Iran threaten to pull more countries into confrontation.
Our efforts to establish calm in the north are closely linked to our determined diplomatic action to stop the repeated Israeli attacks in southern Syria. We are steadfastly working to stabilize the region, and we reaffirm our condemnation of any aggression that infringes upon our territory and sovereignty. We emphasize that any such aggression would have negative repercussions for the security and stability of the entire region. Therefore, we renew our call for a return to the 1974 agreement, with the withdrawal of forces to the lines prior to 8 December 2024. We also call upon friendly and sisterly nations, as well as the international community, to take responsibility for enforcing international law and maintaining stability in Syria and the region.
The confrontation also has a political dimension. Just days before the strike, Erdogan appeared alongside Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Ankara and accused the Netanyahu government of genocide, while attacking Israeli actions in Gaza, the West Bank, and Jerusalem.
As Turkey, we are advancing the Palestinian cause on the basis of a two-state solution in consultation with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. The genocidal Netanyahu government continues its illegal actions in the West Bank and Jerusalem before the eyes of the whole world. Unfortunately, the policies of occupation, forced displacement, and usurpation continue to intensify. I would like to share some figures here. According to United Nations data, in 2026 alone, approximately 3,800 Palestinians were displaced due to settler terror, demolitions, and evictions. Nearly 100 of our Palestinian brothers and sisters were murdered. This situation is a result of systematic occupation and the Palestinian administration being unable to breathe in its own land.
But Turkey's leverage extends beyond rhetoric. On August 7th, Turkey signed the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, a pact that emulates NATO's Article 5, with an attack on one member triggering a defensive response from the others. Now Egypt is seriously considering joining, and Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan openly pointed to Israel's own security partnerships in the Mediterranean when explaining the logic behind the pact.
From the outset, I have said that this alliance is not aimed at any particular party. It simply affirms our mutual commitment to security, sovereignty, and well-being, and reinforces the sense of responsibility that countries in the region have towards their own issues. Are there other alliances in the region targeting us? Yes, there are. Before the Mecca alliance was signed, as you know, Israel, Greek Cyprus, and Greece met and established a security alliance in the Mediterranean. This did not receive the attention or discussion it deserved, but we all know the purpose behind that alliance. Another alliance separates Turkey in the northern Mediterranean from Egypt in the south, and its goal is clear, as is the direction in which it is heading. Our alliance, on the other hand, does not target any country. Rather, it provides a framework for us to cooperate, take responsibility for our own issues, and build deterrence capabilities.
Put it together, and the strategic picture is becoming harder to ignore. Israel is using military force to prevent Turkish influence from moving deeper into Syria. Turkey, meanwhile, is strengthening its position through partnerships with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, while Egypt weighs whether to join. This isn't a war, not yet. But the balance around Israel is shifting, and Syria may be where these competing strategies collide.